way down to the end of the road. Here is where we're putting the show down and bringing it live.
Well, today we are bringing you a morning show because we have some sort of bad news for you. We have another lay day today. We're not going to have our third day of main event competition. We're going to take the day off. The waves aren't quite as big as we want, but man, the weather's really starting to come around, and we do have some swell coming. But before we get to that, let's talk about the action that we've seen so far. We had one full day of trials, and we've had 2 days of competition that have seen some really remarkable barrel riding and maneuvers.
No, I mean, for what we were given, 3 to 5 foot essentially is what we got for all the days that we've ran so far. And sometimes the winds came in, gave it a little texture, but for the most part, it's been glassy, and the riders took full advantage. We have an awesome highlight package to show you, but just a really quick, a couple names that stood out for you.
Man, Mike Stewart, Guilherme Tamega had a man-on-man battle early in the competition. We're going to talk to Mike later today. Also, Garth McGregor advancing on to the third round by beating Guilherme Tamega in the first round. Man, also Brahimi Douche, just absolutely going for it full. Tell us more about it, Manny.
Yeah, Brahim, the Moroccan rider, he's pretty much that air is going viral all over the social media. I mean, he pretty much put everything on the map as far as just going big. Came off the bottom on a pretty sized 6-footer and just let go of his rail and just projected skyward. It was pretty amazing. Just look up APB World Tour and you'll find it anywhere on the social media network. But yeah, that Brahim's Air and Toby players came out in full force, and the Tahitians, there's a pretty good contingent still in the running.
Yeah, we had a couple high scores, 9s. We even had a 10 from Garth McGregor as well. Garth McGregor, he almost became the giant killer twice because he took out Guilherme Tamega, and he also was able to come close to be world champion Mike Stewart by pulling off a 10 in his heat, but he didn't have a backup score, unfortunately for him, and fortunately for Mike. Mike's moving on to the competition.
Yeah, I was talking to a couple of Newcastle supporters of Garth McGregor. If he would have beat Mike Stewart in that heat, guaranteed price of Tui's would have been out the roof. So Garth McGregor putting in a great show along with the rest of the competitors. So yeah, I mean, we still have an action-packed full, I think, days of competition lined up, but
well, right now we actually have a forecast graphic. We're going to show you what we have coming up. And one of our partners here is Magic Seaweed, in addition to Sparkgreen, as well as Air Tahiti Nui. But Magic Seaweed going to be bringing us a forecast. And Manny, we have some kind of somewhat declining conditions, although the weather's getting better. But we do have another larger swell coming here in a couple of days. It looks like Thursday, Friday, Saturday of next week. We're going to really start to see some big swell. It could be as big as 12 to 15 feet here at Chopu, and that is macking.
Yeah, that's what everybody is tuning in for, is to see those big, giant waves that we've all grown to love here at this location. But, I mean, we still have probably about 8 or 9 days. Yeah, 8 days left in our contest window. The only scary part about this swell is it may bring in some wind conditions that may or may not be in our favor, but this is the tropics. Everything changes within minutes, maybe even, seconds.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely changes out here because we're in the middle of the ocean. When you're out over the water, I mean, you got to really understand Tahiti is a very, very small speck of land, very, very big out there. Now, just so you know, Thursday, Friday at this point are looking like the best days. Bigger swell coming Thursday, Friday, Saturday next week. So we do need about a day and a half left to competition and get through to the finals and declare a winner of the 2016 Tahiti Sparkgreen Challenge. Now, before we move on, why don't we talk about some of the highlights from the other day? We do have a package. I think it might be ready here in just a moment, but it's got some great action for the first 2 days of competition, and let's check it out.
Oh, man.
Right on time, guys. So there you have it. Some highlights from the first 2 days of competition. We got almost all the way through round 3, and then we had a squall come in that was absolutely terrifying for some of the people, especially the judges out on the out over the water. I mean, it was
That
really
was scary
out there.
That was scary. And Dave Hubbard was here in the booth with me, and his reaction to the squall coming in just has me laughing to this day right now. But luckily, nobody got hurt. All the equipment was taken off the tower safely. Everybody was taken off the tower safely, and everything's ready to go for our next day of action. But we do have lay days. I mean, yesterday we had something pretty cool going down.
Yeah, so yesterday the APB Social Projects has been trying to get involved with the children and the kids and the youth of all the places and all the countries that we go and have competitions at. Tahiti was no different. We had the chance to take about 20, 25 kids from the village of Teopu, and
Damn, kind of bummed I missed that.
Greeting a lot of the young generation of riders, wave riders here. And this is where a lot of them start, right here at the shore break here, and then they go out and ride the crazy waves outside. But this is where it all starts. This is the beginning of it all. So you got all these stoked young wave riding enthusiasts.
It's going to be probably another 500,000 bodyboarders in about 10 years' time. We keep doing this stuff, so it's amazing for the kids. What we did today was something amazing for the sport and the future and the longevity of our sport, and it's a social community atmosphere down here at Teopu, and we've had multiple world champions, Mike Stewart, Galami Tamiga, Jace Finlay as well, Sebastian Kreft, the Hubbard brothers, Garth McGregor, Jorge Colomar and a few other riders come down here and just teach these kids the first lessons of bodyboarding, and also we had a little speak to them about the importance of the ocean and what the ocean can offer for these kids in life. You know, sometimes if they're troubled in life, they can always turn to the ocean, and that's the most important thing. And we're just trying to express that and pass on basically what we've lived through their lives now. So, you know, and we feel good about it too. We give them back to these kids, and just to see them catch these little left-hand waves in here is just amazing. And it brings back memories from when I was a kid. And I remember the first time when I surfed, and it just all comes back to me, and it's just a humbling feeling, and it's what the APB is about. You know, we're not just a world tour sport, we're also behind social projects and trying to deliver a nice message to all the youths around the world and the next generation that are going to be here and forever long.
here we are once again on the beach at Teopo'o, which actually does mean the wall of the skulls, and maybe we'll have a chance to explain that later, but what a cool translation for a village, wall of skulls.
But it's going to be pretty graphic. We may have to put up a little parental advisory for that story, but it definitely could be told without being, I mean, it's a pretty awesome story, and I'm sure you'll tell it later. But yeah, lay day today, if you haven't heard already. We do have about 2 more days of competition. We do have 8 days of the contest window still available. So we talked about what is to be expected as far as the swell and the winds for the coming days. But again, today is a lay day. We do have 2 days of competitions, which include the rest of round number 3, and we're going to see the likes of Ben Player, Rusty Friesen. I'm looking at the screen over here.
Amaury Laverne.
Amaury Laverne, PLC. So there's the top guys are still waiting patiently, just like you are, to get this show underway.
That's right. We still have, like I said, a solid day and a half of a competition to go. We have plenty of days to do it. We're looking to do it in the best surf possible. That way, the bodyboard fans at home can see the biggest, baddest chopu that we possibly can and have the best riders in the world competing there. And the thing we just saw, all the keikis and our surf experience, what a great thing to do. And guess what? Today's Sunday, and all the kids all over the island heard that we're here doing it, so we're planning on having 10 times as many kids today. They said we could have as many as 200 keikis come and enjoy it. I'm sure going to be there. I'm going to enjoy it. I know Manny and Mike will as well. Now, right now, we're going to throw to a commercial to show you some of the sponsors that help make this event possible. When we come back, the man, the myth, the legend, Mike Stewart will be sitting right next to me, and we're going to talk about the discovery of chopu here in Tahiti. Now we're going to go paddle. Okay, so we still have the Sparkgreen package is still after Mike.
So Chopu, the topography at Chopu is pretty unique in that it goes from dry, totally exposed reef to about a few hundred feet at least deep. So the topography of the reef is such that when a big wave comes in, it has this surging effect. And so it's the only wave, or one of the only waves that I've ever surfed where if a big set comes in, you're not paddling out to meet it, which you would in any other circumstance, in any other break. And it's something that, and you know, hope for the best, you know, you just got to dig in and go. But that's kind of the first thing that's the most striking. You know, obviously the way the wave looks is a result of the topography of the reef, which is pretty crazy, you know, how thick it gets, because after a certain size, it doesn't really get higher. You know, it doesn't move off of the reef so much, it just gets thicker. And so that whole thickness of it and the speed of it, all that comes into play when you're trying to catch it. And there's just a lot of water moving and pulling, drawing off of the reef, which is not kind of sucks the ocean and pulls all the water off of the reef into the wave. You know, the bigger it gets, the more that effect occurs, and the more tricky it is to try to negotiate it. Look, I don't know, you know, who the first person was to surf it. There was when I came across it, we were looking along the coast here. We were doing like an exploratory mission with some Zodiacs, or with the Zodiac, and we came across it in the evening, and yeah, it didn't look completely rideable at first. It seemed like it was, and so that was kind of the start of it. And then I took Ben Severson the next day, and then he came back a little bit later with Hank, the photographer, and then it kind of got out there, and that was pretty much the beginning of its reputation. Yeah, so 2000 was the first year. I think it was the first year they had the competition, and it was pretty cool. There was some good surf for it. We had big waves, and it was just great. Position yourself, and so now I'm thinking with the priority, it's going to be pretty neat. Like, I think guys are going to be able to pretty much position themselves to really take advantage of the surf. So I'm looking forward to that, because I don't think we've surfed it out here with the priority system that we have now. So that's pretty cool.
Welcome back, 2016 Sparkgreen Tahiti Challenge. Here at the desk on our lay day, Eric Apple, joined by multi-time world champion Mike Stewart. And Mike, not only are you world champion of bodyboarding, but you're also one of the pioneers, if not the pretty much main discoverer for the mainstream surf world of the wave right behind us.
Yeah, I'm sure the local guys had surfed here for years and years, and I was just So I was just here, on a surf trip. Hold on, this guy's, my audio's off. Sorry, gang, getting in technical difficulties here. Yeah, so I was over here on a surf trip, and I'm sure there's local guys that had surfed here, many years before me. And I was just here looking for waves along this coast, and so we there's a little demonstration rubber ducky team with us in the PSA tour days. We got sent down here, and I just threw the thing on the top of the car, flipped it over, threw the engine in the back, and we were able to just see enough space through the front of it, and headed down here to my friend Jetty's house down at Vidal, and threw it in the water and just started hitting the coast here, and explored all these different breaks. And then on the way back, saw this wave breaking and jumped in and surfed it, and it was pretty amazing.
What was the paddle out like? Did you just paddle out right through the pass? Did you have an idea of where to go? Or
yeah, so here's the thing, because we're on the boat looking in, you couldn't really tell how shallow it was or what it was doing. You could just kind of see it, the lines just kind of moving in. So didn't really have a chance to look in front of the wave, which was kind of strange. So it's just jump in, try to ride it and see what happens, And earlier that same day, we rode a couple other spots, and I got kind of hung up on the reef. But, after I got my first wave, I kind of knew that this was something special.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Now, you've been here for a number of years, almost 30 years now, Mike. Sorry to throw that number out there, but must have been be a pretty amazing ride to see it from when you first kind of discovered it, not knowing, and seeing all the different contests, the Gotcha Pro, the Billabong Pro, and the bodyboard competitions here as well, and then even all the guys towing. Tell us about what towing is like.
Towing out here is pretty crazy, just because you're taking off so deep. It's a leap of faith, and the wall it goes so far in front of you that it's just uncomfortable. Like, you're just going, oh man, I'm way too deep, but you're going so fast. So everything happens, you're super deep, and it's super scary because you're just thinking you're just way, way too deep. But because you're going so fast, you have a little bit more control. You got control, and you're going into it and with a lot of speed, which is pretty cool. So yeah, it's a total rush. But I kind of have a love-hate relationship with skis. I prefer just to paddle, actually, just because of the smell, and it's just a more pure feeling.
Yeah, I know we talked about towing the other day. I remember asking you about it in the water. Do you feel like, even though it's much scarier and there's much more consequences, do you think that towing into a big day is much easier than paddling into a big day?
Yeah, towing in would be a lot easier, just because you don't have to let go of the tow line, first of all, but secondly, you just have so much speed. So with that speed, you can burn that speed and slow down. You can just maintain it. You got a lot of options. So it's a lot safer and easier with the skis, for sure. But it does take a certain amount of courage to let go of that line when you're like 200 yards back off the ball. So that's like the most unsettling thing, and you just don't know what that thing's going to do. Like, if it's going to fold in on you from that west ball or what. So it's kind of heavy, you know, and especially when you're towing, it's typically pretty big. So
Yeah, for sure.
that's the other aspect of it. So just from the wave itself, there's a lot more consequence in those bigger surf, but it's a lot safer with the ski.
Well, and you talked about the consequences. What are the consequences here at Chopu compared to, say, Pipeline, places on the North Shore, other big wave spots?
Well, you know, I would have to say, I mean, Pipeline is still, just because of the crowd factor and the mania that's out there, it's still the most deadly wave. But Chopu is a very, very dangerous wave. I mean, there hasn't been a lot of fatalities out here, but the nature of the fatalities that did occur was pretty heavy. So, you know, you got to treat this wave with a tremendous amount of respect. And I mean, the ocean will do that to you, you know, and Chopu's maybe a modified or grandeur version of that, because if you don't respect that wave and the consequences, you're gonna lose substantial skin out here at the least.
Yeah, for sure. Now let's change gears. Let's talk about the other day. In the second round, you had a pretty memorable heat with Guillermo Tamega.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about it from your perspective.
Well, you know, for me, it's just, you know, it's awesome to be able to still mix it up with GT. I mean, you know, it's almost like I feel like a brother relationship with him. I mean, I love the guy. It's like I've grown up with him and competed with him, and we both just pushed each other so much. And so we have just a tremendous amount of respect for each other, which I think makes us want to, you know, try even harder and do even better. So that was definitely a memorable heat, you know, and that time it went to me, you know. So
there's been plenty that have gone back both ways.
That's right. So, you know, that's what makes it, you know, that's what makes it exciting, you know. So just that push and the fact that he continues to go and he's continuing to push me, it's awesome. I love it. You know, that's what competition's all about, is to kind of push you to do better.
Yeah, for sure. Another question I know a lot of the bodyboarding fans around the world want to know, Mike, is what other events can fans hope to see you at here on the APB Tour? Itacochara, Chile, where else?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm gonna, I'll definitely attend the events that probably have good waves. I'm less interested probably in the waves that are smaller and not as technical, in my opinion. I mean, it's a different type of riding. It's almost like a different sport. In a smaller surf, it still takes a tremendous amount of technical skill to do well in those, and maybe even more. But in big surf, I just find, like, for me, that's like I like to challenge myself against that bigger wave and the opportunities that present themselves in those kind of conditions. So I'll be focusing more on those events. So it just depends, you know, how the schedule you know, irons out here, you know. But I'll probably, you know, I definitely want to go back to Chile. I'm looking at Itacochara right now. Just depending on how the sandbar's lined up and what the swell's doing, I might do that one. And just see, you know, if I do well in here, then who knows? You know, I could make another run at it. So,
yep.
You know, just gotta, you know, it's just like one of those things. It's like a session you go out without any. Just gotta keep an open mind and be agile enough to take advantage of you know.
So tell us this. We've seen you out in the surf most of the days with your phone attached to your board on your Mike Stewart plug, right?
Yeah,
that can
yeah,
hold
the
the
Pro
phone to
MS
the
Pro
GoPro,
plug,
right?
yep.
I gotta plug that thing for you. I got one. So let's talk about, you're able to broadcast live on your Facebook?
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know if you guys saw me running around kind of like a yo-yo at Pipe, you know, holding the camera, you know. I was actually going live on Facebook, which caught their attention. And so I guess I was like one of the early users that they thought was significant and got good play. So thanks to you viewers for tuning in, and they sent me up to LA to go to this live conference, and kind of got tuned into it and figured out a bunch of things. And so my goal was to try to go live here at Chopu, and I did it this morning. You guys can see it. And by the way, you can go to the APB page, the APB Facebook page every morning. Alex will be doing a kind of a live, like, from the surf spot check of the wave and making a call right then and there. So you guys will be on it when the decision occurs. And then I went onto my athlete page, the Mike Stewart athlete page, and actually caught a couple waves. My goal is to try to get a barrel live, you know, just because I think it's pretty cool. You know,
Pretty cool.
I think the future is it's pretty awesome. I mean, there's some amazing potential to be done here. So yeah, it was just like more of an experiment more than anything else. But it's kind of cool. I wanted to do it, you know.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
So
Now,
check it out.
That's awesome, actually. One last thing I want to ask you about is, we know that you had some work done on your shoulder. You've had a shoulder injury,
Yeah.
and we know that obviously you're surfing now and you're surfing well, so how the recovery must be going well, I assume.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've made 2 heats so far. You know, the roll you saw in the first heat was probably the first roll I did in like 3 months. So I haven't been able to really surf waves over 2 feet for probably about 3 weeks, and I've only had a couple sessions. So this is like this is really new territory for me. I'm not used to not surfing every day, and so I just went through a break where I wasn't surfing for about 2.5 months. So it's kind of new, you know, and I every day feels a little bit stronger as long as I don't crank it, as long as I don't follow Brahim and go too nuts too early. I think I'll be safe. But hey, speaking of Brahim, I mean, that was pretty amazing. Hats off to that guy. You know what?
Big respect to Brahim.
Yeah, and you know what? There's so many guys super amped to go huge. I was talking to Tanner yesterday. He's like, I want to go huge. I'm like, we'll go big, bro. But don't go too big. You got to make it. There's no point in going all out, only getting a 5. You got to try to make it. But everyone is going to be like launching next level for this next round.
Well, big respect to Brahim Idouche, because he's the first one, and he was the inspiration for guys. Yeah. Brahim didn't make it, but it was almost like a sacrificial lamb.
Yes,
like he sent himself, and now everyone's like, okay, I got to do it now too.
Yeah, totally. So hats off for him. Good work, and you've definitely given a kick to everyone to just step it up. So it'll be sick to watch this next round.
Well, so far so good for multi-time world champion Mike Stewart here at the Sparkgreen Tahiti Challenge. He's doing great here at Chopu. We expect to see him moving on as well. Right now, we're going to throw a little promo to you. You're going to have a chance to check out Sparkgreen, our title sponsor here. We had a shot promo, and all the athletes got over there. Take a look. Title sponsor and our partner here, Sparkgreen. Thanks so much to all of our big sponsors, man. Air Tahiti Nui as well, really taking care of us, getting a lot of us down here. It was a great airline. My flight was great. I plan on coming back here to Tahiti. So again, Eric Apple, Mike Stewart hanging out. This is a lay day, but we are looking to have competition, Mike. Probably Thursday, Friday, maybe even Saturday as well. We're going to have some big waves coming.
Swell looks good.
We're having a good time. We're hanging out with Mike Stewart. What could be better? So from here in Tahiti, we will see you soon. But remember, make sure you check out apbtour.com and all the social media. That's Facebook and Instagram, our YouTube page as well. We will see you soon from here in Tahiti.